Good morning. Here we are again online. This is getting to be a habit. Here I am again, putting off my planned service on questioning one more time. Next week. We'll make it happen next week. Welcome to our online snow service at the Unitarian Congregation of Westchester. Our mission in our congregation is to grow in spirit, heart, and mind, love through care and community, and serve beyond ourselves. I'm Reverend Dan Schatz. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm glad for everyone who tuned in this morning or maybe is watching the service later on. We will have a time for all ages in this service, so if there are kids in your house who might be interested in a story, it will come very soon, right after we light our chalice. If you are watching live and you're logged in with a Google account, we'd love for you to say hello in the chat or reach out to us. My email is minister@ucwc.org because we'd love to get to know you better. You can also go to ucwc.org to find out more about us and sign up for our weekly email connections. Unitarian Universalism holds that great good comes from wide diversity. So whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your heritage, and from wherever your beliefs spring, we are pleased that you are here. Let us walk a while together. I do have a few announcements. The first is that once again this week we're going to be putting aside our Share the Plate. We will do that next week when we, Let Us Pray, can be together in person. The second is that we're going to have a town hall on February 1st after the service. Now, if you are new to our congregation, a town hall is just a chance for the congregation to come together and discuss a particular issue. In this case, you might have noticed that our building is looking a little bare on the outside lately. You might also not have noticed because, we've had to be online the past 2 weeks. Our pride flag blew down in a heavy wind, and we will put that back up as soon as it's safe to do so. Our Black Lives Matter banner had been looking faded for a while, and it finally deteriorated to the point that we needed to take it down. But the board believes it's still important to proclaim where we stand, and the town hall will be an opportunity to talk about what the next banner might look like, whether to change that message, add other messages to it, or keep it as it is. We'll have a chance to give the congregation input into that discussion. And finally, on February 8th, we will hold our annual Feast of Decadent Chocolate. Again, if you're new, this is a Sunday when we have a special all-ages service, including a chocolate communion. I use Guittard chocolate, which is fair trade and nut-free. And all of us are invited, although not required, to bring chocolate in some form to share in social hours. So we won't have our regular potluck. Instead, we will practice the spiritual tradition of eating dessert first. And we will enjoy chocolate together. We do ask that if at all possible, you use fair trade or ethically sourced chocolate. And now we enter into worship with the lighting of our chalice. In the cold of winter, we kindle the chalice, hearth of our community, that it may bring us together in warmth, in comfort, and in love. Well, we have reached our story for all ages, so if there are children in the house who are not watching the service and you'd like to call them over, you can do that now or show them this part of the service later. This is one of my very favorite books. It's written by Jane Yolen, and it's the very simple story of a father and a child and a late night in the winter, in the snow. It's called Owl Moon. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out trains and dogs for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was quiet as a dream. We walked on towards the woods, Pa and I. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Woo, woo, 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 woo," the sound of a great horned owl. "Woo, woo, woo, woo." Again he called out, and then again. After each call he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back, and my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand to the sound. I put my mittens over my scarf, over my mouth, and listened hard. And then Pa called, "Woo, woo, 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 woo." I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. "Woo, woo, 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 woo." Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, "Woo, woo, 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 woo," just as if he and the owl were talking about supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer, from high up in the trees on the edge of the meadow. Nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of a big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently, with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without sound. It flew back into the forest. "Time to go home," Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow as we walked home. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. Well, All this talk about animals in winter has made me think of another animal which will be getting a lot of attention in 8 days. And that, of course, is the groundhog. So for our offertory, I thought I'd sing an old-time song about a groundhog. This instrument is a fretless gourd banjo. It's an old-fashioned kind of banjo. And the song is old-fashioned too, although just for today, I tweaked the words a tiny bit and added one new verse to make it a little bit more about Groundhog Day. Now again, we are holding off on sharing our plate today, but we are very, very grateful for your gifts in these online services. It really makes a tremendous difference, and there are many ways to give. You can go to ucwc.org/giving or send us a check. Or you could also add a little to what you pay in your pledge. And if this is your first service with us, I invite you to be our guest and let this collection pass you by. We will now receive our morning offering. Up in the morning, whistle for your dog. Up in the morning, whistle for your dog. I'm going to the wildwood, see the groundhog. Old groundhog. Run comes Sally with a 10-foot pole. Run comes Sally with a 10-foot pole. Coax that whistle big out of his hole. Old groundhog. Watch him, boys, he's about to rise. Watch him, boys, he's about to rise. I think I see his beady eyes. Old groundhog. It's 6 weeks of winter, a long way to spring. 6 weeks of winter and a long way to spring. Groundhog's shadow don't mean a thing. Old groundhog. Little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. Little piece of cornbread laying on the shelf. If you want any more, you can sing it yourself. Old groundhog. Well, for these gifts and for all that we give in many ways to all of our communities, we are truly, truly grateful. Our reading for today's service is a poem by May Sarton called Snowfall. With no wind blowing, it sifts gently down, enclosing my world in a cool white down, a tenderness of snowing. It falls and falls like sleep, till wakeful eyes can close on all the waste and loss, as peace comes in and flows, snow dreaming what I keep. Silence assumes the air, and the five senses all are wafted on the fall to somewhere magical beyond hope and despair. There is nothing to do but drift now, more or less, on some great lovingness, on something that does bless the silent, tender snow. This song is by Tom Galla. I've always loved it, so I thought maybe I would use this opportunity to try and learn it, to play it for you. I am looking at a witch hazel blooming in a garden, bright yellow flowers in the middle of winter time. And I tell my heart, be strong like the witch hazel flower. You will not be injured by this dark troubled time. I take myself along to a place I know in winter, and I look out at that south sloping bank all covered with ice. And I tell my heart it all will melt and run down to the ocean, and you will not be injured by this dark and troubled time. I'm looking at a witch hazel blooming in a garden, the bright yellow flowers in the middle of winter time. And I tell my heart, be strong like the witch hazel flower. You will not be injured by this dark, troubled time. We must say goodbye to the one we love. We must say goodbye to many. We must say goodbye in way too short a time. And I tell my heart, be strong like that witch hazel flower, and you will not be injured by this dark, troubled time. I'm looking at a witch hazel blooming in a garden, the bright yellow flowers in the middle of winter time. And I tell my heart, be strong like the witch hazel flower, and you will not be injured by this dark and troubled time. No, you will not be injured by this dark and troubled time. This past week, the following post came up on Facebook from the National Weather Service office in Mount Holly. Did you know, it said, that locally and based on climatology, January 21st is the middle of winter. This is based on an average of temps at our long-term stations. It doesn't mean that we've definitely seen the coldest air of winter, but it does mean averages will start going up. I read that, smiled, got up, and looked at the thermometer. It read 7 degrees and falling. Now, here we are with I don't know how much snow on the ground because I recorded this ahead of time. I had originally intended something like this service to be on February 1st. I like a good GroundHog Day service. It's a chance to stop and breathe in the middle of winter, to remind ourselves that the seeds of the spring have already been sown, that they are already beginning to grow beneath the frozen ground. Light is growing every day. The Japanese witch hazels are beginning to bloom, and yes, the native skunk cabbages too. There's a rich history of both pagan and Christian celebrations this time of year. It is Candlemas, it is Imbolc, it is the old blessing of the candles. It's everything about rest and renewal. And it has marmot-related folklore. Why wouldn't we want to honor a day like that? But given that we had to be online because of snow last weekend, and given that we've bumped the service on questioning, which I really want to do in person, twice already, this is the 3rd time, it feels like this is Groundhog Day. And I mean that in the Bill Murray sense. I've seen this movie before. I feel like I've just woken up to Sonny and Cher singing I've Got You, Babe, and it's eerily familiar. So yeah, it might be 8 days early, but welcome to Groundhog Day. But maybe this is good, though. Maybe this is right. Maybe this is what we need here in the middle of winter, in the snow, in the storm. Maybe this is what we need in the middle of an existentially exhausting time to live. And it is exhausting. We all know how exhausting it is. That we've all seen what's happening in Minnesota. And this week, clergy of many faiths from across the country gathered in Minneapolis to march together for human rights and worthiness and dignity. And if I hadn't had a commitment I couldn't get out of, I'd have been there marching with them. But we shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to go to such exhaustive efforts to preserve the most basic human rights and liberties. We shouldn't have to worry that our country might suddenly be at war with Denmark, of all places. We shouldn't have to worry about the integrity of our democracy. And of course we do. We do all of these things. And here I am talking about them again. It's exhausting. And of course, these are not the only stressors in our lives. All the things that happen all the time keep happening. We go through illnesses or hard times. We lose people we love. We make mistakes. We face the reality of death. We struggle. All of that is part of what life is. And there's the good stuff too, but when you put that all together, it can be doubly exhausting. It's exhausting like a winter that seemed to begin in November, and it's just been cold. Then comes the snow and the ice. That can be exhausting too, I know. We have to shovel it, salt it, drive through it, and readjust all sorts of plans. And in a winter like this one, we have to do it again and again. But maybe readjusting our plans isn't the worst thing. Maybe this is what we needed. When I was in divinity school, one of my good friends in the dorm got married, and we all carpooled down from Cambridge, Massachusetts to Peekskill, New York for the wedding. Being a graduate student and on the younger end, I had no money for the hotel, so I stayed with other members of the wedding party at the bride's parents' house. And that night it snowed. And I mean, it seriously snowed. It was January 6th, 1996. Some of you may remember that day. It snowed, and it snowed, and it kept snowing. The roads were all closed. I was 200 miles from my books and classes. All I could do for at least 2 days was stop and enjoy the good company of the people around me. And it was wonderful. A winter storm forces us to step back from the intensity of our lives and just be. Yes, we will need to dig ourselves out. Yes, we hope the power stays on. Yes, there will be work to do. But for the moment, we can take a moment, make ourselves a cup of tea or cocoa or coffee, and just be in this place. A day like this makes us stop and recharge. We need that. Everybody needs that. We look at the heroes of the world sometimes and we might think, well, they didn't stop for snow days. They didn't take a break. They kept going. But we don't know that just because it's not in the history books. Of course they did. They had to. Last week I saw a picture of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on a trip to Florida, and there he was in the swimming pool looking like anybody else having a good vacation. We all need to pause sometimes. We all need to rest sometimes. We all need to stop running for just a moment and take in the beauty that is this world. That's what days like this are for. In a roundabout way, that's what GroundHog Day is all about as well. Both the traditional holiday and the Bill Murray movie. They are reminders to stop. Be where we are. Let go of our agendas and our schedules and the things we have to do and notice the world around us. Notice the snowstorm. Notice the ice. Notice the beautiful person in front of you. Remember that this world is not so broken that we cannot fall in love or find beauty in winter. no matter how inconvenient it might be. Notice the glittering of the snow at night when it is so very cold outside. Notice the colors that shine so brightly against a white background. Winterberries, cardinals, blue jays, red osier dogwoods, and, of course, the winter hazels. One of the reasons I love Jane Yolen's book, Owl Moon, is that it reminds us of the holy moments and precious gifts that can take place in a season most of us usually think of as cold and bitter. And instead of staying inside where it's warm, it calls us outdoors, into the cold, to experience the winter and not just complain about it. I love the book so much and read it aloud so often, both to kids at my congregations and to my own child when he was little, that I went and looked up the call of a great horned owl so I could get it right when I was reading it. I know my people. And I knew that if I did a great horned owl call during a time for all ages and got it wrong, somebody was going to come up to me and say, well, that sounded more like a barn owl. So I learned it. And then, a couple of winters ago, rushing from the car into the house on a cold evening, I heard that sound. Woo, 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 woo. I stopped right there. I looked around me. It called again. Woo, 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 woo. I could tell that the call had come from high up a mature eastern spruce tree in my neighbor's yard. It was dark. I didn't have a big flashlight. I wouldn't have known exactly where to aim if I had. I couldn't see the owl, but I could do this. I cupped my hands to my mouth and called out, woo, 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 woo. And it sang, woo, 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 just as if we were talking about supper or about the woods or the moon or the cold, just like Jane Yolen's beautiful story. I never saw the owl. And I still haven't seen one at my home, though I have heard them a few times over the years in my yard or my neighbor's, always way up in the high branches. But I hold that moment precious. I will always savor the few sweet seconds I let go of everything else in the world and experienced pure wonder. It was a sacred moment. Such experiences are more healing than we know. They're balm to a wounded soul. They remind us that this life and this world are so much bigger than ourselves, than each one of us, than all of humanity and all of humanity's problems. They remind us of our connection and kinship with a greater reality. We might find God in such moments, or we might simply realize the miracle of existence. There's a wonderful quote by E.B. White. You'll probably hear it from me again if you haven't heard it from me already. He said, I arise in the morning, torn between a desire to save the world and a desire to savor the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. But in winter, on the snowiest and even the iciest and messiest day when we are stuck at home, there is no such dilemma. We have only to savor the world. I hope that if you are able, you take this time for the precious gift that it is. And if you're not able to do that today, I hope you will take some other time. Make some other time to savor this world. It doesn't have to be in winter. It can be any time at all. Let yourself be transfixed and transformed by wonder. Give your heart a chance to heal and renew itself. Savor this world so that you remember this world is worth saving. There will be times ahead when you will need the strength you've gathered. There will be times when you're called to put yourself in the thick of it all for love or justice or just for survival, for getting through the day, for making ends meet. But this day, or the day you choose, let that go and embrace the love of this world. Hold it close to your soul until it becomes more deeply part of you, and you become more deeply part of it. Let such moments feed your spirit. Let such moments give you joy. Let your heart fill with wonder. It is just past the middle of winter in Pennsylvania. The snows and ice have come, and beneath it all, the groundhog stirs in their hole. It doesn't matter if they see their shadow on the magic day. Love the day for the miracle that it is, and that you also are. I wrote this song many years ago when I had just finished an enormous task, and letting go of that burden, I looked around and suddenly I saw the beauty in life. Leave time for the turning of the season. For the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Come sit by my side and share a story, one of a love too deep to find, one of a sailor wending homeward, one of the echo of your mind. Time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. After the hurry comes the harbor. After the journey comes the rest. Trade rushing for the rushing of the waters. Through fields lined with burrows, banks and nests. For the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. All your travels bring you comfort. May all your loving give you some. May all your learnings leave you open. May all your rambles lead you home. for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Time for the quiet of the way. Well, let's take a moment in this virtual community that we've gathered to be together in quiet. On this wintry morning, we celebrate the wonder of this world. Moments of quiet beauty or stunning revelation, the love of earth for humanity, the love of humanity for one another. May we take such moments as gifts of grace, blessings that replenish our spirits when times are hard, that give us the strength to bear adversity, and that bring joy to the memory. And as we turn again to the everyday world we inhabit, may we go lifted by these moments we have lived. Amen, and blessed be. I'm going to close with a song that's by Gordon Bach. You can sing on the chorus. And I'll be the sun upon your head, the wind about your face, my love upon the path you tread, and upon your wanderings, peace. Earth and fire be ours tonight, all the dark outside. Fair the night and kind on you, wherever you may find. And I'll be the sun upon your head, wind about your face, my love upon the path you tread, and upon your wanderings peace. Wine and song be ours tonight, and all the cold outside. Peace and warmth be yours tonight, wherever you may find. And I'll be the sun upon your head, the wind about your face, My love, upon the path you tread, and upon your wanderings be. Hearth and fire be ours tonight, and the wind in the birches bare. Oh, that the wind we hear tonight would find you well and fair, and I'll be the sun upon your head, the wind about your face. My love, upon the path you tread, and upon your wanderings peace. Go in peace.